Okay, so I was thinking about the sun. I was outside and I was thinking about the sun, and I was thinking about how much better and how much more better I feel when I'm outside and the sun is out. It's like it brings more people out. It makes me want to be outside more often, and it feels good and it's calming, but it also like speeds you up at the same time. And I've always pictured I don't know if you guys ever heard of Agartha, and it's about Middle Earth and this and being inside the Earth, and it shows like the sun being right here, and then it's like everything's around it, like everything's around it. So instead of like thinking that we're on the outside of it all, I always think that like we're on the inside of it all, and the sun's in the middle. I'm not really sure how that all fits together because the sun seems to go down. But I wonder if that's just a thought pattern. If we just think that the sun goes down. Maybe it's really just us that keep shifting our perceptions or something like that. Maybe we just shift our ideas and we think that the sun goes down. But maybe it doesn't go down at all. Maybe it actually stays in the center all the time. And maybe our little bubble or our place in that centerpiece, like you got like the sun, and then you've got like everything around it, and maybe it's like clouds, or maybe something gets moved, or maybe it has to do with like emotions, or like your elevated heart, like maybe it has to do with excitement that I just talked about. But I always picture what I can picture is that in I don't even want to say new world, because I feel like this exists no matter what, is that what babies learn. It's like what babies learn is like you hide something, right? Like you say you got a pen right here, and then you hide it, and the babies are like, well, where did it go? But like at some point in their life they learn to remove this, and then they can see it. So it's like even though the sun is like not visible, I feel like it's still there. And I feel like the truth is that it's in the center all the time. And I picture like a perfect world, and I think I picture that it's all sun all the time. That's what I picture. I picture all sun all the time. That's what I picture. And I was outside today and I was looking at the clouds and I was walking with a friend. And I was looking at like the clouds and the way it's like I always see 3D pictures in the clouds, and there was this point where I'm seeing it. It looked like almost like that, right? It's like that, but it's it looked really smooth. It was white clouds like that, and then it was blue, and then it was another white cloud like that, and then it was blue. And I was looking, I was like, wow, that's really cool. They almost look like speed bumps or something like that. And then my friend, she's on her bike, and she's like, yeah, it looks like an ocean. And I was like, yeah, dude, it totally does look like an ocean. And then, like, I looked at it again, and I was like, oh, they kind of look like waves. Like, the white humps kind of look like waves. And in that moment, it looked like a 3D picture looking out. Like, I'm literally on this, this plateau or something, and I'm looking at the clouds, and I'm looking at this ocean, right? And it was, like, kind of elevated. Like, it looked like a 3D picture, but it was kind of elevated. But it was, like, I could actually see. It was like the ocean's all around me. And I'm in Connecticut, but this is what I'm seeing around me. This is what my eyes see in these clouds, is like this ocean. And it's like, I feel like I could search for information anywhere on the internet. People, all of this. I feel like the truth is everywhere in everything that people say. And when I go outside, I feel like I see the truth in the clouds, and I see the truth in the sky, and I see these 3D pictures, and when I point something out and somebody, like my friend said that, I was like, wow, dude, you're so right, because like this is like what I see. But it's really cool when somebody says the same thing, and I'm like, that's awesome that somebody sees the same thing as I do. It makes me super excited, yeah, so I always think of timelines, and I think of like, me, and then like everyone that's like in my timeline, and I think it's all simultaneous, and stuff like that. But I think of like this timeline that's like this set of people, right, that are living the same lifeline as you are, but like in another dimension. So it's like all happening like at the same time, but it's like they're different personalities in different locations in time. And it's interesting because just before I came in here, I looked at the clouds and I saw, I think I talked about, I don't know if I talked about tone rings. It's like I could see like these lines of clouds like during the summertime, and it looked like little like teeth like that. Like like a comb, like a brush or something like that. And I was like, well, it looked like tone rings. That has something to do with mechanics and brakes on a car. But it's like when I looked at it this time, it looked totally different. It was the same like cloud line, but instead of like tone ring or teeth on a tone ring that I usually see, it was extended and much closer and much larger than before. And when I saw it this time, it looked like people. And it looked like people that were like attached to this line. And the first thing I thought of was like, oh wow, that reminds me of like people on a timeline. It almost looked like pictures or something, like those old, like the flip books you used to make as a kid, like little stick figure, it'd be like, and you can like see fluid movement, even though it's like picture. Like that's kind of what I thought of, was like that. And it seems like, and then it reminds me of like time and technology and everything else, because like, we make that and it's like flip, right? It's like timeline slow. It seems slow, right? You're like anticipating the next picture. But then I think about now and the technology now and how far it's grown or gone. And it's like, now it's instant. Now it's instantaneous. And I guess I feel like I'm talking about it right now because I feel like these timelines are really syncing up. I feel like these timelines are really syncing up. Like whoever's in your past or future or whatever, however we want to describe it in terms that we can understand, I feel like a culmination event of sorts is like all these timelines coming together and syncing up at the same time. Right. Like, I don't know, I guess it's a little confusing to try to explain that, but that's what I feel. That's what I feel like. I feel like the technology gets greater, ideas get bigger, and the truth is like really coming out, and that's what I experience. That's what I experience is that whenever I think about something, I always look at the clouds, and it's like I literally see this three-dimensional picture of something I thought about or something that somebody else is thinking about, or like the truth, basically, I guess. So when I look outside and I see a three-dimensional geological location, I'm like, maybe we think they're just clouds, but maybe they really are more than just that. Something that's there all the time, but it's like maybe only revealed when there are clouds there, because then it's like, it's not really a smoke screen. It's like a revealing screen so that you can actually see what's there. Because, during the summertime, I saw a lot of different things in there. It looked like I said, like glass. In my last video, I think I talk about that. It looked like glass. And I remember reading Revelations in Jesus' story, and he talked about seeing a sea of glass. So I thought that was pretty cool that like I saw that before I read it, and I was like, dude, get out of here. Like, you're totally seeing this, like we see the same things, And what's interesting is that, I'm realizing that no matter what it is that I go out and I see, it's the same pictures. I'm just realizing more about it, is that I think these things all exist all the time, and it just seems like they're moving from here to there, and it seems like it changes, but what I perceive is like it's there all the time. It's simply there all the time, and when it's revealed is like when you have these light clouds. I'm not sure if I talked about it in a few videos back, but I'll go over it, is that when I looked up at the sky and I saw like water and stuff like that, it was like I could see like one sheet of like a very thin layer of glass or water. I mean, I thought it was water, but now I'm like, I'm not really sure what the heck it is, but it was like a sheet here and then like a sheet here. Like I literally see, like it almost looked like this much distance. I mean, I know from my perception on the ground, maybe it's a little more distance. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Well, all I'm saying is that, when I have clouds there, like real milky, like real soft clouds, I could actually see one going this way and one going that way, like literally parallel to each other, not random at all. It was like you know, one's moving here and this one's moving that way. Now, I don't know a whole lot about weather and stuff like that, but I know what I saw. And what I saw was definitely something super particular, like something specially designed. And it's like, you know, I just, what I believe is these things exist all the time. And the fact that we have clouds, I think it reveals them. I don't think it hides them. I think it actually reveals them. And yeah, I think I'm just telling you what works for me. And what works for me is going outside and looking at the pictures on the wall. Because I'm now realizing that maybe they're not just pictures, maybe it's the truth. I think that's the truth. That's what I feel. And I always wonder, like, why the sun isn't out all the time. Why? Even though I know, like, I feel like I know that it's in the center. I know that it's in the center of the earth. And I feel like I know that we're actually, like, on the outside. Because I think of the fastest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. And I'm like, okay, well, that's perfect science. So, you know, maybe there's more to that than just that. You know, like, I think about, like astral projection, or I think about, like, out-of-body experiences, or, like, being able to transport your body from one place to the next. And I think, what would be the easiest way to do that from one timeline to the next, from one location to the next in time? And I think, how would that be possible? And, like, I think about that book about Agartha, and I'm like, well, that makes total sense. Like, that's the quickest way possible that I can think of, is, like, the sun, and then all, you know, looking at the sun like it's over here right now. And I think, like, what is out there other than the cosmos? What else is out there? And I'm like, you know, to see it all revealed, I guess that means that we would see that it's like you're standing where you are, and it's like this stadium, right? Like you're here, and it's like you're seeing the whole stadium, like around and surrounding you, like an IMAX theater or something, with the whole, like that. And I'm like, you know, that's what even if it's not what we see, and it's not proven by science yet, what I feel is that the sun is in the center. Like it's some sort of conduit. And I feel like the sun is in the center all the time. Now, why we don't experience that's something I don't know. But I feel like that's the truth. Like, it's in the center, and I feel like a perfect world would be like to have the sun available at all times. You know, and if you chose to sleep, or if you chose to do something else, then maybe that's why we have houses. You know what I mean? But I feel like the truth is that it's in the center, and that it is actually readily available all the time. And maybe that's what energy distribution is that maybe one location needed it more than the other, or something like that. And that's the only reason why it disappears at night. Maybe because the other half of the world is actually right in front of us when we look up, or we look, you know, to one location, maybe, honestly. Because that's like the first picture that I think in my head is like, and this was a while ago, it's like 3 or 4 months ago, I remember like thinking that, like, the earth is kind of like this screw-on, like, you know, like 2 cups or something like that, right? And I always picture, like, when I look up, it's like that's like the revealing veil or something like that, is that to be able to see what's up above you and to the sides, and, like, realizing that that's the other half of the world. Like, it's really that simple or something like that, to just be able to have it revealed and be like, oh my gosh, they're just up there. Well, that's interesting. And that's really funny about gravity, because then it's like, what? Just confuses the whole system. But I'm like, but that's what I feel. Like, even though I can't explain it with science or anything like that, the first picture and my first intuition was that. And I feel like that, you know, whether or not it makes perfect science, I mean, I'm sure it does somewhere along the road. I don't have, like, the calculations or nothing, but what I feel in my heart is that makes sense, because, you know, the heart is the centerpiece. Your heart is the centerpiece. And the sun, I always think of the sun and your heart being the centerpiece, because I love the sun. And the love in my heart is the truth. And what I feel is that it's in the middle. That's what I feel. And I feel like the best way to the first thing I envision in a perfect world is having everything accessible all the time. And that structure, that design, makes perfect sense to me as to how that would happen and how that would be revealed. It seems like the most beautiful system ever. And it makes sense. At least to me. Okay, that's all I have to share for now. Thanks.